Hi Aries, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I am going to be doing your April 16th to the 30th, 2021 reading for you. Now I ask if this reading resonates with you, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and also to subscribe to my channel. And if you would like to be notified whenever I upload new videos, and I upload all the time, just hit the bell notification button. And if you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will all be listed and linked in the description box below. Now before we begin this reading, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds. Letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. All right. Let's let the bowls sing as we see what the tarot has to say. Aries, April 16th to the 30th, 2021, Aries. April 16th to the 30th, 2021, Aries. April 16th to the 30th, 2021, Aries. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides, angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Okay. And one bonus card. Let's get this so that you guys can all see what's going on. Moving it down just a bit. Okay. I'm going to move my camera back just a bit for you. Okay, brilliant. And let's see the chakra energy for this time. Now this is going to be the place where we're a little bit sensitive, so it's kind of like if we can give this chakra just a little bit more love, a little bit more attention, that's going to be really beneficial for us. So, Aries, April 16th to the 30th, 2021, Aries. April 16th to the 30th, 2021, Aries. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Fantastic. And then the energy that we need to be mindful of during this time. These are going to be like the type of people that we run into. It doesn't have to be like water sign, air sign, that type of person, but it's going to be their personality, what they're projecting forward. And so during this time, it can be the people that we run into. It can be the kind of like podcasts that we listen to or YouTubers or however we're influenced, where this energy comes in and it takes seed, and it can do so in a very negative way. So what is Aries to be mindful of? April 16th to the 30th, 2021, Aries. April 16th to the 30th, 2021, Aries. What is Aries to be mindful of? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Awesome. So let's look at the tarot right here, right now. So the left-hand side, of course, is the inner self. The middle is the heart, the emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. And then the bonus card is going to kind of like look over all of this and be a very connecting factor. So we have the 8 of Wands, the Lovers, which is Gemini energy, May 21st to June 20th. We have the Chariot, which is Cancer energy, which comes right after Gemini energy, June 21st to July 22nd. And then we have the Three of Cups. We have the Seven of Wands, the Page of Pentacles, Earth sign energy, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. We have the Empress, okay, which is absolutely spectacular. Aries, whenever you guys get the Empress, because you're represented by the Emperor, okay, in the major arcana, there's the balancing factor is coming within your heart at this time. So because it's in the heart line. And then we have the Ace of Wands, which is a gift from God, Source, Spirit, however you see the divine, the universe, of passion and of, of desire, of this is what I'm going after, this is what I want. And there's a real sense of a focus coming in. It brings us to the Ten of Swords, crowning us in the public arena. So the public arena, a little bit tricky. We have the Ace of Pentacles, but we're very prosperous because, again, a gift from God, Source, Spirit, however we see the divine, the universe, of prosperity, of bounty in the public arena, because we have the gift of the Ace of Wands and the Ace of Pentacles. And for me, this very much deals with the earthly plane instead of the emotional plane. This is going to be a time where we can really shine in the public arena, in what we desire, in what we're going after. We then have the King of Pentacles, so we're absolutely taking this gift. This is also, again, earth sign energy, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. And then we have the Five of Wands. There's a sense of, am I heading in the right direction? Do I know what it is that I want? There's a lot of self-doubt that comes in, and that can just stop us right where we are. It's like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. Or a fight that happens, and we're looking at the situation, we're like, where the heck did this come from? Why is this going on? It's like a fight that starts off where you're like, why didn't you put the butter away? Or, where's the butter? And then all of a sudden, it's like World War III. So just to note that can be something to be mindful of in the public arena, but it's not something to make it be like, oh, I have to walk on eggshells during this time. It's like, no, if an argument happens, step back and say, oh, okay, this is exactly what Spirit was telling me to be mindful of, and I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. Why? Because I'm a little bit sensitive. I'm a little bit vulnerable. I'm looking at what I want to build and how I want to move forward. And if I let this person take the wind out of my sail, or if I let this anger start taking seed, it's going to take me months to get to where I want to be, to raise my energy vibration, to move forward in a way that empowers me and emboldens me. I'm not letting that happen. And so here, the energy that looks over all of this, it's the Seven of Swords. And the Seven of Swords is sneakiness, right? So it can be us being sneaky, and it's not necessarily a bad thing not to tell everybody your business. I know in our world right now, we tell everybody everything, but we also only do the edited part. We only do the beautiful, pictures of our kids and of our partners and of our this and of our that, and everything's perfect. And behind closed doors, everything isn't perfect. So when we have the Seven of Swords coming up, it's like, I don't need to share with you everything. I just don't. But I also need to take forward and take with me what's important to me, and kind of say to the rest of it, I'm not taking you along. I can't carry this anymore. Now, the chakra energy, I'm very interested to see the chakra energy here. It's flexibility. Okay, it's the Sacral Chakra. I'm not surprised at all that the Sacral Chakra is coming forward. Because, again, this is a sensitive time. This is a time where our emotions run high, when we want to move forward in a very distinct way. We're really looking at things inwardly and being like, okay, I need to get to where I want to be. Period. End of discussion. And for an Aries, that's a very powerful statement, because as an Aries, we're very much driven by success, by what we desire, by, our focus, by winning the battles, by moving forward, by systematically conquering what we set out to do. And so some people might think, oh, that's terrible. It's not. You're represented by Aries. Aries in Greek mythology is the god of war. So life is a battlefield. We hear that in songs, we read it in poetry and in books and in movies, but that doesn't mean that it's necessarily bad. It just means that it hits you right between the eyes and it doesn't stop coming. The flexibility that we're talking about here, the Sacral Chakra, is saying this is time to embrace enlightenment. The Sacral Chakra is where a lot of negative energy from this life and from past lives is held. Now, the Sacral Chakra is also where our sexual energy is held and our creative energy is held. So it makes it a tricky chakra, because we have all this potential and we have things that are really important to us, our sexual well-being and our health and our sensuality, right? But we also have then our creativity, and then we have the fears that we were born with, the fears that we accumulate over life, the fears that come to us from our past lives. And we think, how do I stay balanced? Where is it that I want to be? Why can't I move forward the way that I want to? This is a time when we need to step back and just connect with ourselves through meditation, through yoga. It can be to stand on one foot and see, how wobbly am I? And it sounds silly to say, but if we stand on one foot and we see that we're super wobbly, it's like, okay, things are going to knock me off balance more easily today. And if we say, oh, well, I don't have any balance whatsoever, it's like, okay, that's cool too. So how do we get balance? How do we start to balance ourselves? Maybe not physically, maybe we're not able to do that. Maybe it's spiritually. Maybe it's, it's organizationally. We get ourselves on this really good schedule and we sit there and we say, wow, this is actually working for me. Instead of being something domineering over my life, it's something beautiful for my life. And so we embrace that flexibility. We embrace that coming together. We embrace that balance. And this starts to open up doors for us, but we have to understand that the sacral chakra and also our creativity, our sensuality is going to be something where we feel a little bit sensitive. We can, doubt our words, and we see that with the Five of Wands. We doubt the way that we're moving forward in our prosperity. Should we be? No, but we have the Ten of Swords, and the Ten of Swords is like, man, I've been through a lot. And so here at this time, it's really looking at ourselves and saying, this and that is true, which is what the Lovers is showing us. There's always going to be two roads. There are always going to be two ways forward. There are always going to be at least two opinions. But if we look at it and say, there are two ways of seeing every story, and I have to trust myself. It's not being in a place of delusion. If we deal with people who have delusions and have circumstances and situations, and they tell a story and you're like, wait a minute, I was there. Like, that's not how it happened at all. That's a completely different thing. What we're talking about here is the coming together of ideas and the moving forward of what is needed within our lives to embrace letting ourselves fly, even when the roads get hard. And the energy that we have to be mindful of is justice. And it sounds odd to say, be mindful of justice. Now, this is, of course, Libra energy, September 23rd to October 22nd. Being mindful of justice is being mindful of either people who say, it has to be just like this. It's written like this. It has to be like this. This is, kind of like the letter of the law, and that's what I'm going to follow. We also have to be very mindful with ourselves, Aries, because as the Emperor, we can get very focused on always trying to do the right thing and not being flexible, okay, embracing that sacral chakra with ourselves, of saying it's this and it's that. It has to be balanced. It has to be this. It has to be. And what happens is we make it so that we break in one way or another. Now, it can't just be that we get run down. It can't just be that we don't feel spiritually connected. And I know for me personally, not feeling spiritually connected to the world around me is horrible. It leads to a sadness. Without spiritual meaning, I don't feel as if there is any meaning. And so here with justice, it's saying it's discernment. It's not the letter of the law. It's not, being in court all the time. It's saying I need to be discerning about the people I let around me, about the energy that is a part of me. And when we come up against people during this time who are going to be like, well, that's not fair. And it's like, okay, well, that isn't fair. But life isn't fair. Everything isn't fair. And it's a hard lesson to learn, and we usually learn it young, and we get it reiterated throughout our lives. But we have to see here is also the people who use our better nature, our sense of duty and commitment against us. And this is going to be a time where it's like, okay, justice is one thing. Being fair is one thing, but I also have to be fair to me. And if we use that as our touchstone during this time, then saying no comes a little bit more easily. Being able to say yes to things that we want to do becomes easier. Being able to know where we stand becomes more empowering because we're crowned in the inner self with the Eight of Wands. And it's very interesting, this Eight of Wands with this hawk flying and then all the arrows coming at him. So with the Eight of Wands, it's change. It's things moving forward. But we're taken totally off guard by this change. It takes us up. It wraps us up. And during this time, when we're looking at it, and this is why it's followed by the Lovers, because again, it's that energy of this and that is true. It's that energy of knowing that there is love and there is beauty and there's this camaraderie and coming together within ourselves and within what we want. And that we have to start focusing on what we desire, because the way that things are changing about, and we have to be just to ourselves, the way that things are changing about is we can easily lose sight of where we want to be, of who we want to be. And we can sacrifice everything for everybody else. Or we can see that, this is a battle that I have to give myself all to. And it's like, wait a minute. step back. Step back and step out of the chaos. Step out of the chaos and into the now. And when we have ourselves stabilized, again, embracing our flexibility, but also embracing our centeredness, the way that we can stand on our own 2 feet and feel secure, then we start looking at things and saying, well, what's the point of this? What's the love behind this? What's the passion behind this? What is this? What is it that I desire? Where is it that I want to be? We start asking ourselves the questions, because the lovers, as much as we always think of romantic love, and we might very well be thinking of romantic love during this time, when we see the lovers, it's a sense of, am I moving forward to a place where I'm in love? In love with my life? In love with what I desire? In love with who I am? In love with what I do? It doesn't mean that we walk around like, a smiling, fool all the time. We can't have moments where we're like, wow, I'm really happy. But it's asking ourselves, do we have those moments at all? Or is there always a sense of I'm surviving, I'm existing, I'm trying? The lovers is saying there needs to be a bit of beauty. And there also needs to be the understanding that there, like the Taoists say, this and that is true. Things can be seen, but through 2 different eyes, they're going to be seen differently. So there is a sense here of really embracing what we want. And there might be, and for some of us Aries, there really is the sense of, what do I want in love? Is the partner I'm with, if we're with a partner, is this it for me? Is the way that I'm moving forward, is this right for me? Am I connected? And it's also knowing when we're really fed up, when we need to step back and we need to say, you know what, I need to connect with me. And I just do. And it can be meditating for 20 minutes a day. It can be, going for walks. It can be doing something that just lets us decompress in order to embrace and to hear the voice within us. But there's a sense of focusing on love. And it's going to be so important. It is going to be so important. Why am I doing this? How am I moving forward? What is it that I desire? What is it that I love? What is it that I want? Not what battle do I have to fight now? Not, how am I going to change this? It's like, where is it that I need to be? It's having a little bit of a calmer energy around us. And it moves us to the Chariot. It moves us not to being lackadaisical or passive. It moves us to being a warrior, which is what we are. Remember, a charioteer was a king or a queen. I mean, there's the theory that of one of the ways Tutankhamun, King Tut, died was that he fell off a chariot. Pharaohs rode chariots. So when we have the Chariot come in and we're focusing on love, because the lovers focuses on love, the Chariot with Cancer energy focuses on love. Gemini focuses on love and words and desires and inquiries and diving deeper into things, but also letting ourselves flitter around, letting ourselves ask questions, letting ourselves be a little bit freer. And it moves us then to this determined focus. It moves us then to being able to say, you know what, there is a skill here within me. There is a power about me. And I get to move myself forward to what I desire, to what I want, to where I need to be, to embrace what I have trained so long for. And what we forget, and what we maybe even don't realize, is that every adversity, every fear that we conquer, everything that starts off being so absolutely, unbelievably terrifying, if we stick with it, if we overcome our fears, it becomes a thing that helps us propel forward because we're stronger and braver than we were before. Now, the thing here with the inner self, and this is going to be a place where we can get really kind of tripped up, is that we might look at something and it can be hard for us. It can be something where really the voice inside of us is saying, no, you don't need to be here. You don't want to do this. But we're going to think, no, I'm just afraid. I'm just afraid. Just keep on pushing forward. So that's something we're going to have to be mindful of and check in with what we desire and not get caught up in the chaos of the way that we're being pushed forward, to be able to embrace what we want, where we want to be, and how we want to get there. It moves us to the Three of Cups. Now, the Three of Cups, for me, has evolved. So the Three of Cups is always, and has always been, a sense of look at the people who haven't been there for you. And with this cute little card right here, it's like, what? But with the Three of Cups, it's the people who raised their glass to you, who celebrated you. And who couldn't keep up their side of the bargain, couldn't truly be connected with us, let us down. It could be caregivers, it can be, parents, it could be siblings and friends and lovers. And it's the people we really did. We gave a piece of ourselves to, and it all fell apart. And that's what lets us kind of step back and say it's not like the movies, right? It's not like the fairy tales. Life is harder. But then it also shows us, the Three of Cups also shows us, the people who do stand with us, who do celebrate us, who do come forward with us. And these might be people that we take for granted because we're like, oh my gosh, they're always there. But there's something to that. There's something beautiful about that. There's a sense of being able to celebrate ourselves, to celebrate what we desire. But the first and foremost thing is that we cannot celebrate everyone. And there's a real sense here of the hurt of that, the fear that comes from that, but then also the release because you weren't able to celebrate me. You don't get to dictate the rest of my life. And it leads us forward then to our hearts. And our hearts here are crowned with the Seven of Wands. The Seven of Wands is being prepared for battle. Excuse me. Is like, I'm going to fight, I'm going to go after what I want, and I'm prepared for it. But the Seven of Wands tells us, do not fight everybody who comes our way. Excuse me, I just have to get a sip of water. So there is a sense here with the Seven of Wands where we look out and it's like, okay, if I give my energy to everyone, it's kind of like that person who's always yelling, right? It's kind of like the story of the kid who cried wolf. That's a better analogy. The kid who cried wolf always said, oh my gosh, there's a wolf. Everybody came running. Everybody was like, oh my goodness. And then when there really was a wolf, they were like, oh my gosh, just be quiet, right? So this is when a person is always fighting, always like having to give their energy. And we can see that within ourselves. It's like we get used to fighting. And sometimes we have to. Sometimes it feels like we had a lifetime of battles before us and one thing after another after another. And the Seven of Wands is saying, pick your battles wisely because we only have so much energy. We only have so much time. Pick what matters. And there will be moments in our lives, decades in our lives, where the battles always matter. There are always big battles. And there will be other moments in our lives where it's like a bit calmer. And we can be so used to being in that fight mode that our hearts are just like, oh my gosh, when am I going to be broken again? When is this all going to fall apart? So we have to be very mindful and very aware of what we're fighting for and who we're fighting against and who's worth our time and who just simply isn't. And it moves us then to the Page of Pentacles. We start to become a student of our prosperity, of what we desire, of where it is that we want to be. And it's very interesting because in our hearts, we are always learning, all right? But in the public arena, we are really embracing being that king, being that leader, really moving forward towards our goals. The Page of Pentacles can also be a child that's really close to our hearts, a child that we're nurturing, a child that we're watching grow, a child that we're protecting. And there's a sense here of where is it that I want to be? How is it that I want to be? And we're learning right along with, like if we're helping somebody to develop. Now this could be our own child, this could be a child that we're raising, this could be a person that we're mentoring, all right? It doesn't matter how it is, but there's a connection here. Now there is also a sense of discovery with prosperity. It's like different doors opening, different ways leading us forward, different ideas of what we want. And we're becoming a student of where our talents lie, how we can plant them in the earth, how we can watch them grow, what we want to grow within our lives. We're asking ourselves a bunch of questions and we're seeking out the answers, not in this, they have to come now sort of way, but in this, I wonder if I do X, Y, Z. And I wait a little bit. Like I give it a week, 2 weeks, a month. I see where it takes me. I see what becomes of it. How does it change me? Where do I move forward to? What do I desire? What is it that I want? We're becoming a student of our prosperity. We're becoming a student of who we are. And we're finding out more and more about that. But we have to connect with our hearts. That's why our inner selves is connected with the lovers, is connected with the heart so profoundly. And it really does move us to prosperity, to wealth, to bounty, to a way of expressing ourselves in a much more succinct, powerful determination. And it moves us then to the Empress. Now, again, because we are represented by the Emperor in the major arcana, to have the Empress come in, that's beautiful. The Empress is embracing a new heights. It's claiming a throne we thought was lost, claiming a thought, a voice, a way of being that we didn't think we could claim. We didn't think this got to be us. But now that we are claiming it, we are claiming so with gusto. It's also like within our hearts, we found a part of ourselves that was missing, a part of ourselves that had disappeared for a time. And as we claim this, or maybe that we never even knew, as we claim this, we start to claim who we are and what we want and what we desire and how we're moving forward and where it is that we want to be. And there is a sense of the Eternal Mother being with us. Now, no matter what our religion, there is a sense, or, how we connect to divinity, there is a sense of the sacred feminine being a powerful part of us during this time. And that's so important, especially for Aries energy, because Aries energy, again, god of war, has this distinctly masculine tinge to it, which is gorgeous. Okay, my nephew is an Aries, and I always am in awe of his determination, of his stubbornness, and also his sense of fairness. I mean, he just turned 2, and he is so stinking fair, and he will hold you to your word because it's so important to him. And it's the sense of justice coming in. And so here, with the Empress, it's like, what are we nurturing? What are we moving forward towards? What are we building within ourselves? It's the Shekinah, it's the Sophia within Judeo-Christian, beliefs. It is the sense of this beauty moving with us and guiding us forward. And it's connecting with it. It's connecting with it in a very real way. And it moves us then towards the Ace of Wands. Now, it moves us towards God, Source, Spirit. However, again, we see the universe or divinity handing us a gift of passion. And why is this important? Because we are represented by the wands in the minor arcana. So divinity is handing us a gift made for us. All the gifts that are here, the gift of passion, the gift of prosperity with the Ace of Pentacles is intrinsically important. But this is a little bit more so. This is, what do I desire? How am I moving forward? Where do I want to be? What is the passion that guides me? Because we need passion. Aries, one of the things is like, if life doesn't have passion, it doesn't have meaning. All right? And for us to embrace our passion, to embrace what we desire, to look at our stubbornness, to look at our determination, that becomes a powerful part of who we are. This is the beacon. This is the light, the torch in the darkness. This is the fire that moves us forward. This is the reason we get out of bed in the morning. This is calling on that energy. It's calling on that desire. It's calling on more than we realized. And yet it's calling on less than we thought it would take. And so there's a real power here that is moving us towards our goals, towards what we want, towards what we need, towards what we long for. And it's a sense during this time of awakening. It's like, oh, I didn't think that got to be part of me anymore. I didn't think I got to move that way anymore. It's almost like I almost gave up. But then there's this fire that's burning inside of us that says, don't walk away. Don't step away from this. Because if we do, we'll regret it longer than we could imagine. And it moves us to the Ten of Swords. So the Ten of Swords in the public arena is like, are you kidding me? I've had my face handed to me. The Ten of Swords is the dying away of the old self, the rebirth of the new. It's the darkness before the dawn. It's having 10 swords stabbed in us. And it's thinking, holy guacamole, like, how am I going to move forward? Where is it that I'm going to be? I've ended. And it's like, yeah, in a sense, a part of us has ended. The naive part, the part that kept on giving the other person 500,000 different chances. The part that thought, well, maybe the job will get better. Maybe this person will start to respect me or see my worth or understand my value. That part of us has died. There's a wiser person that awakens from this with a wealth of knowledge. The Ten of Swords is this wealth of knowledge. Because we have to understand, swords don't play, okay? Swords are weapons, and they're the only weapon within the tarot. Wands can be walking staffs. Wands can be torches. Swords are simply weapons. It embraces the mind. It embraces the lungs because you need to have, good breathing to be able to wield a sword because it's hard work. But it embraces skill and forging. And so never would anybody leave a whole bunch of swords in a person in ancient times or, probably even now, and think, oh, okay, that's fine. I'll let them just rot on the ground. No. Or rest on the ground. No. You'd take them out. You'd have a wealth in your hands. And it would be a wealth. The swords represent nobility. Peasants weren't allowed to hold a sword. Peasants were killed for holding swords. That's why in medieval paintings, you always see peasants rising with pitchforks and other, like shovels and things like that, because they weren't allowed to have such weapons. So here, there is a sense of knowledge and power and strength being with us. And it came in a very uncomfortable way and at a very uncomfortable price. But it is the price of life. And so who we once were is gone. It's part of our story. It's part of our history. But it's not who we are. And there's a sense of power guiding us. There's a sense of rising. There's a sense of focus. There's also a sense of maybe being just a little bit colder than we were before. A little bit more, I want to say shrewd, but shrewd has like negative connotations. It's like being a little bit more aware. And not thinking that everybody is going to be kind. It moves us then to the Ace of Pentacles. Well, it's like this rebirth brings us prosperity, brings us wealth, brings us gifts from divinity that says, plant these seeds, watch them grow, see how they develop, see how you develop, see where you want to be, see how you want to be. Look at what's important. That's also a really big thing during this time. Look at what's important. It might not be, because we have had this resurrection, it might not be what was important, when we were younger. It most likely isn't. The person who we are now is going to be quite different than the person we were 10 years ago. And you would say, of course, but 10 years, if we look at it in the realm of history, that's not a very long time at all. But in a personal history, that's profound. And so the Ace of Pentacles is wealth and it's prosperity. And it's these ideas coming forward. It's also things that we have to nurture. It's not going to be something that just automatically, it's not going to be like winning the lottery, though I do wish that for each and every one of you, that just money pours in. But this is something that we work towards. This is something that we develop. This is something that we might stink at when we start, but there's such a drive within us to see it come to life, to see it come to fruition, that we keep on going after it. And there's the seed of greatness within us. And we can see that, like, if we focus on what we love and on what we desire, we become students of this prosperity, and we start to take the gifts that divinity gives and watch it grow just in magnitudes. And it leads us to the King of Pentacles. The King of Pentacles is determined and focused and winning and has a way of seeing things interconnect in a way that we just usually wouldn't. It would be like, oh, okay, that's nice, that's fine. But the King of Pentacles is like, no, it works that way. No, we want to it's kind of like how the Native Americans planted seeds. I know they planted corns and beans, and I always forget whenever I'm doing the readings, the third thing that they planted, but they were called, I don't remember. And so here it's like, it plays in harmony with each other. And this is going to be something that we're going to be instinctually guided towards, like playing in harmony with what we're building. It's kind of like, oh, well, if I do this and that, all of a sudden things start to grow, things start to become more prosperous, and I start to see myself moving forward. Now, there can also be this, now it can be a mentor-like figure, but there can be this person who just has this really good sense of money coming in when it comes to the public arena. And this is going to be a person that we kind of want to listen to. Now, it might be that we're listening to a podcast. It might be that we are, we meet somebody or we're talking to somebody and they give us really solid business advice. We might not see it as such right then and there, but it's something that's going to stick in the back of our head. And we're going to look at it and be like, oh, well, that can move me forward. Like that has validity to it. And it's going to empower us. It's going to embolden us. It's going to move us towards more. And that's really important. And it leads us then to the Five of Wands. The Five of Wands is chaos. Chaos for the sake of chaos, things that get out of hand, kind of take on the life of its own. This can trip us up, and this can ruin the whole entire time. So we need to be mindful of that. The Five of Wands is the sense of, can I move forward to where I want to be? Do I know what I desire? Do I know what I want? Do I know who I am? And at times we're going to say, no, I don't. No, I'm absolutely overwhelmed. What do you mean I'm supposed to have this figured out? But what we're going to find is that if we step back and we don't look at everything as if I have to have the answers right now, if we step back and say, okay, this is what I need to know. This is what I'm looking at right now. I take it step by step, moment by moment, day by day. All of a sudden, we start to see that we untangle the chaos. Externally, if this is a fight that starts off as something small and just erupts into something big, it can be with an earth sign energy, it can be over money, okay? But it can be over the way that we want to progress, the way that we see ourselves moving forward. And somebody else could have a very different vision for us. We're tired. We're tired of putting ourselves on hold for other people. We're also really tired of the endless battles. So we have to be very mindful at this time of how we react, because overreacting, it won't seem like overreacting because it's like the straw that broke the camel's back. But to the person that we might be dealing with, it can very much seem that way. So we have to be mindful here. And the Five of Wands is an intensity. And if we always kind of look at things and say, at our heart, kind of step back, if we feel ourselves starting to get angry, starting to get overwhelmed, kind of step back and we connect with our heart and we embrace the Seven of Wands. I'm going to be mindful of the battles that I'm going into. I'm going to be mindful of what I'm giving my energy to and what I'm not. Is this worth my time? Is this worth my energy? And then we're going to start to say yes or no. We're going to start to kind of take ourselves out of the instant emotion of the time. And that's going to be really helpful. It really is. Because over us, overlooking and kind of guiding this whole entire time is the Seven of Swords. And the Seven of Swords is like, don't share everything with everybody. Keep your business your business. Look at what it is that you want. Look at what it is that you desire. Gather up what you need and move forward. And wait till you're there to share it. To share the beauty, to share the connection, to share what you have developed and what you desire. The Seven of Swords is also going to say, okay, we don't like to be lied to during this time, but we're also going to be very leery of who we trust and why we trust. This isn't going to be a time where it's like, oh, I trust everybody and everything's great. This is going to be a time of like, prove it. Prove that you can stand by me. Prove that you know what you want. Prove that, we can move forward the same way. And then I'll talk to you. And it sounds harsh, but with the repeat of the number 7 here, we're really not into liars during this time. Not that we ever were, but it's not going to be something that is dealt with easily. And there's going to be a sense here of truth being intrinsically important and telling the truth to ourselves, even if we don't want to hear it. The repeat of the number 3, divinity is watching us and creating with us and guiding us forward. The repeat of the number 1, there's an empowerment by embracing ourselves and by seeing that we have more to offer than we think. We have more going for us than we see. And it moves us now to our spirit message. Aries, April 16th to the 30th, 2021. Aries, angels and spirit guides, show me clearly, guide this reading, and show me clearly. So our spirit message is blessed and hope. I like that a lot. So we are blessed with the ability to hope for a better future, to move forward towards what we want. But being blessed, just knowing that we are blessed, even if we don't feel blessed, even if we feel completely overwhelmed and completely like the world is falling apart, like we're thrown into the deep end. But if we know that divinity is handing us gifts, a passion, career, okay, career-wise, handing us gifts, money-wise, handing us gifts, passion, what we are growing, what we desire, where we want to be, we start to see things differently. And instead of thinking, oh my gosh, it's just another thing, it's another sword stabbed in the back, it's another hurt, it's another pain, it's another disappointment, it's like, this is a wealth. This is a wealth of knowledge, of information, of what I desire. What I'm going through now is preparing me for my future. It is forging me for where I need to be. And I'm on this path because hope Hope was the only thing left in Pandora's box when she opened what she was told not to, when curiosity got the best of her and she let chaos into the world and heartbreak and destruction. Hope is what we need to know that we are blessed, to know that there is a better tomorrow waiting, to connect with our power and with our understanding. It moves us to our spirit animal message. Aries, April 16th through the 30th, 2021, Aries. Angels and spirit guides show me clearly. All right. The Rhino spirit, overcoming any obstacle. Yeah. I mean, seriously. Oh my gosh. I just thought of, I don't know where I saw it. I think it was a t-shirt or it was a meme. And it said, save the chubby unicorns. And it was a rhinoceros. And here, it's just that sense of having a sense of humor about things, of looking at things differently, of, of embracing your skill and your talent and your wit and your charm. And there's this beauty to it. So we overcome every obstacle. And we do. Because, well, we're saving the chubby unicorns. We're going against the grain. We're seeing things so differently than everybody else. And it's making our life brighter. Their life can be done and outlined in gray. Ours doesn't have to be and isn't going to be. Now our subconscious spirit animal message is the cow spirit. The miracles are endless. The miracles are endless. We as human beings, we look for the huge miracles. We look for the lightning bolt from the sky that, splits the tree and helps us, cross over the gully or whatever. We want the miracles to be big. The miracles are small. The miracles are having somebody to ask if you want a cup of tea or not. The miracles are having tea. The miracles are being loved or, finding a penny on the side of the street. And the miracles are the little things. It's child's laughter and the birds singing and spring coming and, warmer days or winter coming in and cozy days. The miracles are endless. But we have to look at them in the small ways. It's our dog being excited to see us when we come home or our cat curling in our lap. It's the small things. Hold on to those miracles because we never realize how important the small things are, the small miracles, until they're gone. And then they become everything. The subconscious spirit guide message is centered. And that's what our flexibility was telling us, to be centered. Centered in ourselves, in what we want, in what we're longing for, in what we're hoping for, in who we are, knowing ourselves more. And during this time, we do. We know ourselves more. We understand ourselves more intrinsically, more powerfully. And there's a sense of exceeding expectations, of being able to achieve and succeed where we thought we couldn't. The subconscious chakra message is balance, the root chakra. At our root is the balance of ourselves. And we see this with the Empress coming in us, of course, being represented by the Emperor, this balance coming forward and saying, this is the sacred masculine, this is the sacred feminine of me. This is what my soul and my heart desires. This is where I need to be. This is what I long for. This is what I need within my life. The balance comes forward. We need balance during this time. And because we are seeking out that balance subconsciously, so intrinsically and so powerfully, that's why the sensitivity is high. That's why we can find ourselves kind of falling out of balance a little bit more easily than we would want to. The subconscious person message is the Hierophant, right? That's Taurus energy. Now, if we're born on the cusp with Taurus, this might be energy that kind of boards with us. The sense of stability and making sure everything has a plan and to move forward like step by step, institutions and plans. I just see a lot of plans. And there's going to be a sense that the Aries side of us wants to look at the plans and say, okay, I have the idea of what needs to be done, but I also know that in the midst of battle, in the midst of life, things are going to have to change on the fly. And I'm good with that. So we can war with that side of ourselves, the one that wants everything to be really structured, and the side that understands that it's not going to be, and going with the flow. There's also going to be a sense of us running into a bit of conflict with institutions. Now, it can be that they are embracing the letter of the law, and we're looking at it, and it's like, okay, well, I get that, but that's not fair. That's not right. And so here with the Hierophant, there's a sense of things being challenged that people might say, but it's always been that way. It's like, okay. And it's not in any kind of radical way. It's just like, but that's not working. We kind of need to look at things differently. There can also be a sense of the institution that we are in. We find ourselves kind of bucking against them. We can find ourselves bucking against our relationships, kind of feeling more stifled than we want to be in our work, feeling more constrained than we want to be. And there's this real need for freedom of expression and freedom of what we desire, and a sense to really push forward and push boundaries. So we're going to have to try and come to terms with that during this time, because it can be something that becomes kind of obsessing, because we want to push free, but there's always something that feels like it's tethering us back. And then our subconscious tarot message is the Five of Swords. The Five of Swords is having to face something that we're like, oh man, this again? Like, I thought I conquered this. I thought I did this. Now, it can be a person where we run into a person and it's like, oh my gosh, this is like a person that I knew from before. And we could almost change their names and they would be the same person. Like, just describing their lives even. So here with the Five of Swords, we're challenged. And we could be challenged also by people that we've had to deal with in the past and who always saw us a certain way. And now, because we've resurrected, because we have this power and this focus and this prosperity and this determination to us, they're like, wait a minute, that's not who I wanted you to be. That's not who I remembered you being. And it's like, well, tough luck. This is me now. And I'm fiercer and more powerful than you could ever imagine. And so there's this determination to us. There's this focus to us that really is quite amazing. Yeah. But do know that that's going to be the feeling. It's like, oh my gosh, I have to go through this again. Or, oh my gosh, I have to learn that lesson again. Like, are you kidding me? So be prepared. In the repeat of the number 5, here actually we have the repeat of the number 5 now 3 times, is that it's moving us towards freedom. And it's also, things are going to be more easily resolved than we thought they were going to be. Now, if we thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to struggle with this my whole life, and it winds up not taking our whole life, time is relative. So just be kind to yourself during this time, because there's going to be a real sense of just wanting to charge through. And this is a time to kind of step back, to plan, to look at things, to know that things are going to have to change on the fly, and that's okay. That's okay. Okay. So let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy, as we step into the power of being us, with pride and with dignity, with love and with respect. I embrace who I am, and I move forward in that grace. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Aries.